The game begins with a car arriving at the motel, and a customer gets out, walks into the reception room, checks in, and takes the key to their reserved room. The guest then takes their luggage to the room, turns on the heater, and orders some pizza. Suddenly, another motel guest enters the room and says, "What are you doing here? This is my room." The person already in the room responds, "No, you're mistaken. This room is 6, which I booked." Realizing their error, the other guest apologizes and leaves, as the room number is 9, and they had confused it with 6. Afterwards, the pizza delivery guy arrives, delivers the pizza, and leaves. The guest then checks the bed to find cockroaches. To deal with the problem, they go to the receptionist to get bug spray. Later, they hear loud music and go upstairs to tell their neighbor that the music is too loud and it's late, asking them to turn it down. Upon returning to their room, they are watching TV when the room lights go out. They go back to the receptionist to report the issue. The receptionist fixes it, and the guest returns to their room. Shortly after, the motel manager arrives at the guest rooms and says, "Since you face some issues, you can stay here for free tomorrow." A little later, the receptionist calls the guest, informing him that someone is waiting for him in the kitchen and to come and meet him. When the guest enters the kitchen, they find a note that says, "Come to room 1." Then, the suspicious neighbor in room 1 tells them that many people have been killed here in this motel. The motel guest is now looking for a visitor to gather information. They meet a businessman who shares his problems with them. When the guest returns to their room, they hear a noise from the bathroom. Checking it out, they see the water is leaking but manages to fix it themselves. Later, they hear a civil danger warning in the TV news. Afterwards, they fall asleep. While sleeping, they are startled awake by a scream. They go to investigate, and a police officer arrives, asking where the sound came from. The guest responds that it didn't come from their room, but perhaps from room 1. Together, they go to room 1. There, they find the neighbor's dead body, and the police officer instructs the guest to return to room 6 while he calls for detectives. A short while later, the same guest who had mistakenly entered the room earlier comes back, and asks if he can stay with them for a while because of the murder in the other room. They let him in, and together they barricade the windows. The room number 9 guest goes outside to gather some wood, but when he takes too long, the other follows to check on him. They find the guest standing next to the manager's body. He tells them that they need to escape quickly. Just then, a creepy creature appears and kills the guest. Now, the creature begins chasing room 6 guests, but they manage to send out a call for help on the radio tower. Now, they have to survive until the helicopter arrives. When the helicopter finally arrives, they quickly board it and escape.